You're 27 not out, and your batting partner gets out. You've been batting well. You're seeing the ball quite nicely. Everything feels pretty good. Today's your day. And then your partner nicks one. Gone! And apparently his dismissal has now had a dramatic effect on your ability to bat. Because almost immediately this little conversation starts in your head. Right, don't lose another one. We need to rebuild now. Just get through the next few overs. Don't do anything stupid. Excellent. 30 seconds ago, I was just batting. Now, apparently, I'm responsible for negotiating a national emergency. And we've all heard the saying, wickets fall in pairs. So naturally, when your partner gets out, the most useful thing you can possibly do is immediately start thinking about not getting out yourself. Makes perfect sense. But here's what's interesting. Your partner getting out hasn't changed your technique. It hasn't changed your ability, and it hasn't suddenly made the bowlers better. You haven't forgotten how to bat in the 40 seconds it took the new batsman to walk out to the middle. The situation changed. You didn't. And yet for so many batsmen, that's the moment their innings changes completely. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go back to 27 not out. You've been out there for maybe an hour. You and your partner have put together a decent partnership. You've both settled in. You're not thinking about too much. You're just batting. Then he gets out. You meet the new batsman out in the middle and you say, just take your time. Let's get through these next few. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. The match situation genuinely has changed. But then you take guard again and something else has changed. You're suddenly much more aware of your own wicket. Don't lose another one. Next ball, defend. Good. Next ball, defend again. Fine. Next ball, you play outside off stump and miss. And now the internal commentary team has all arrived. Careful. Thanks. Great. Didn't realise missing the ball was that dangerous. Next ball, defend. Then another dot. Now we get the commentary team saying, don't get bogged down. Hang on. 30 seconds ago, you told me not to do anything stupid. Now, apparently, I need to score. This is great. Anything else? Next over, the bowler drops one short. Normally, you'd step back inside it and, put it away. But now there's this tiny hesitation. Don't throw it away. So you leave it or defend it. And now maybe you're getting frustrated because you've stopped scoring. So the next half volley arrives and you really, you go hard, harder than you normally would. Edge, gone. And everyone says, see, there you go. Wickets fall in pairs. Maybe. But I think there's another conversation worth having. Cricketers love that saying, wickets fall in pairs. We've been saying it forever. And of course, wickets sometimes do fall close together. But the interesting thing is the data I've seen doesn't really support this idea that your partner getting out suddenly makes you dramatically more likely to get out as well, which kind of makes sense because why would it? Your partner's dismissal hasn't changed your batting ability, but it can change something else, the meaning of your innings. And that's where things get interesting. Before the wicket, you might simply have been batting. Now you're thinking, we can't lose another wicket. I need to look after the new batsman. I've got to consolidate now. I can't get out now. Notice what's happened. The physical act of batting hasn't changed, but psychologically, the job has become completely different. You've gone from trying to score runs to trying not to lose your wicket. And those might sound like the same thing, but they're not. Now, that little voice we've been listening to throughout this innings is what I call the captain. And just to be clear, I don't mean your actual captain sitting back in the sheds wondering why he sent you in at number 4. I'm talking about the conscious part of your mind, the part that thinks, the part that plans, analyses, and tries to work things out. And importantly, tries to protect you. That's why, when your partner gets out, that voice often becomes louder. The situation suddenly feels more important. So your captain thinks, right, better get involved here. And in fairness, it's trying to help. That's the funny part. Don't get out. Helpful. Don't nick, the next one. Very helpful. Don't play anything silly. Fantastic. Don't get stuck. Anything else while we're here, maybe remind me of my batting average? The captain isn't deliberately trying to make batting harder. It's responding to what the moment now means to you. A wicket has fallen. There might be pressure. There might generally be a period where you need to adjust to the match situation. But there's a difference between understanding the match situation and becoming consumed by it. Because there's another part to this, and that part I call the player. That's the part of you that's been batting for the last hour. That's the trained part. That's the reactions part, the timing part, the instincts part, the part you've spent thousands of balls developing. And here's the important part. When your partner got out, the player didn't disappear. It didn't walk off with him. It's still there. Same ability, same training, same batsman. What's changed, however, is how much your conscious mind is now trying to manage everything. And that's where we get ourselves into trouble. Because the captain starts trying to protect the wicket. And the player, which was, doing perfectly fine, 5 minutes ago, suddenly gets less room to actually play. It's a bit like driving somewhere. You've driven thousands of times. You're perfectly comfortable. You could probably drive that, distance on autopilot. Then somebody in the passenger seat starts saying, brake, watch the car in front. Stay in your lane. Hey, there's a roundabout coming up. I'd slow down here. After about 5 minutes, you're thinking, would you mind just getting out? And this is the line I really want you to take from this video. The situation changed. You didn't. That doesn't mean ignore the match situation. Of course not. If your team's 6 for 80, that's different from, say, 1 for 250. Cricket requires awareness, but awareness and fear are not the same thing. You can recognise, we've lost a wicket without turning it into, I absolutely cannot get out now. You can recognise the new batsman needs a few balls to settle in without deciding, I now need to completely change the way I've been batting. And, you can recognise the match situation without allowing it to redefine your own identity at the crease. That's the difference. So your partner gets out this Saturday. What do you do? Now, I'm not going to give you 7 steps to follow. You don't need another checklist to remember while you're batting. You've probably got enough on your plate and going on already. I want you to do one thing. Notice when the meaning changes. That's it. Your partner gets out and you hear, don't lose another one. Notice it. Don't fight it. Don't start saying, I mustn't think negatively, because now you've just added another thought to the meeting. Recognise what's happened. The situation has changed. Tick. Your captain is trying to protect you. Tick. That's all fine. Then bring your attention back to the job in front of you. The next ball. What do I need to do with this ball? Not, how do we rebuild this partnership? Not how do I get us through the next 10 overs? And not, what happens if I get out now? That's where batting actually happens. The next ball. Your teammates, might be thinking about the partnership. The opposition might be thinking about taking, 2 more quick wickets. That's fine. They can all think about it. You've got one ball to face. So the next time your partner gets out and someone says, don't lose another one, maybe don't immediately turn your innings into a hostage negotiation situation. Recognise that something has changed around you. Sure. Then remind yourself, I haven't changed. The batsman, who was seeing it well 2 minutes ago is still standing here. The player hasn't disappeared. Let him bat. Because 1 wicket falling is part of cricket. 2 wickets falling quickly is also part of cricket. But turning that first wicket into a full-scale psychological emergency probably isn't helping anyone, especially you. And if this conversation starts in your head before you even get to the ground, that's exactly why we've built the free 24/7 batting mindset coach. You can jump onto the Century Club website, tell it exactly what's going through your head and work through it. It could be before the game. It could be after an innings or at 10:30 the Friday night before the game when your brain's decided, hey, now would be an excellent time to review every dismissal you've had since under 14s. It's completely free. It's been built entirely around my coaching methodology and my book, The Century Within. I'll put the link down below. But for this weekend, remember one thing. Your partner gets out, the situation changed. You didn't. And if you nick the very next ball, well, at least the bloke who said, wickets fall in pairs, he's going to feel very clever. So until next time, bye for now.